Alright, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Tiki's Travel Hut. Today we're doing solar install, or not install quite, just testing the whole kit right now. So I bought the Renogy 100 watt solar kit, starter kit. Comes with the charge controller, the solar panel, I'll show you all that in a second, and the cables and mounting brackets for it. Okay, so that's our first thing today. Okay, so the first thing I've got hooked up is, here's our battery. This is a EverStart deep cycle power battery. 27 DC is what you're looking at right there. And then right below it, I've got the Wanderer 30 amp MPP controller that came with the kit. So let's see if we can zoom in on that. And as you can see right now, I've got the plugged into the positive and negative. These two cables are going up to the battery, as you can see right there. Now this is just a test. This is not actually going to be the way it looks when I install it. But this is just the test. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to hook up the two wires. Okay, so on the back of the solar panel comes with the two cables already wired in, and as you can see, they're labeled minus and positive. So we're going to hook up the minus cable first using the installed cable that came with it, or the included cable. Oops, try not to break it like I just bent it. So that's the negative cable first. We're going to hook that up to the charge controller. Okay, so we're going to do the negative first, plugging straight into the controller. Now the one thing that I did do, they tell you to do, is to make sure that you have your solar panel covered so that it's not actually pushing power to it just yet. So that's what we're doing. It's actually faceward on the back of the box. So you want to make sure those are in nice and snug. They are. And of course, this is just a test. We're just making sure everything's working properly. Okay. The next cable, this is going to the positive side of the controller, or the solar panel. Now you want to make sure when you clip these in, bring this over here, make sure that these are in nice and solid when you first clip those on. All right, here we go. Here's the negative cable, or positive cable, excuse me, going in. Get in there. Okay. There. Nice and tight. All right, so let's zoom in. And as you can see, so I've got positive, negative, positive, negative. These go to the battery, these go to the solar panels. And as you can see, it's not charging right now because I have the solar panel blocked. So that's why there's no light. So what we're going to do is zoom back out. We'll move this over just a little bit so the camera can see it. Okay, what we're going to do is, so we're going to turn the solar panel around, and I should have a green light coming up. Alright, now you can see we now have power coming in from the solar panel. Because what I did is I turned the panel around, which is now facing the sun. And that's what we get. And that is your basic connection right there. And that's all you have to do. Now, the one thing you always want to make sure you do is, if you're going to disconnect anything, disconnect your positive first, or turn your solar panel around if you're inside like I am, and then disconnect your positive cable first. And that way there's no charge coming in from the solar panel. And that's what we're going to do, just to disconnect everything. Okay, just a real quick video on, or add on to, with the charge controller is, don't make the same mistake I did when I tried to hook this up to the battery and to the solar panel. And what happened was, if you look inside, I hope you can see this on the camera, but inside you have positive, negative, positive, negative. But if you look really closely, let me see if I can zoom in. Nope, it won't let me zoom in. All right. But if you look closely, you can see, it's awfully tough to see, but if I rotate it, and you see that little silver piece going up and down. Well, the problem is when I first opened this, as you can see, if you turn it clockwise, it goes up. As you see how it's coming up right there. What happened is when you first get these, they're all the way up, and I was trying to put the cable in while this piece, it was all the way up in the locked position, if you will. Okay, and so what I wanted to, I wasn't realizing why my cable wasn't hooking up. So you have to make sure that when you first get this, that you turn it counterclockwise, and then you'll see that little bracket going down, and that's where you need to have the cable plugged into. So if you go all the way down, you see how it's coming down. Now you put your cables in, and then you turn it clockwise. So counterclockwise makes this descend all the way down. Then you insert your cables, and then tighten it by turning clockwise, and that will raise that connection and clamp down on the cable. So don't do what I did and not realize that. So if it's in the instructions, I didn't see that or didn't read it. Just be aware of that when you're hooking up one of these. Okay, so the rest of the components for my electrical system are right here in front of me. So we have a 50 amp circuit breaker. This is going to go in between the inverter to the charge controller. Let me bring that into the picture as well. Okay, try that again. Okay, so 50 amp circuit breaker is going to go in between the inverter to this. I'll show you a diagram here in a few minutes. This is a 150 amp circuit breaker also. This will go in between the battery and the fuse panel and the inverter. So the power cord from the battery will come to here. The fuse panel and the inverter will come to this end of it. Okay, the negative from the battery will come straight into to tie into these two, this and this. I'll show you my diagram here in a minute. Okay, the solar panels, which is right here, will plug in directly to this. Now you can do a kill switch, so I'm going to be doing a kill switch with in between, probably in between here, the battery and this circuit breaker. So when I want to turn off all power from the battery, or to the battery, from the battery, this is going to be the on and off kill switch. Now I'll probably run another one of these in between the solar panels and the charge controller, so I can turn off the solar panel at any time. So this is a 150 amp circuit breaker. This is a 50 amp circuit breaker. 30 amp charge controller. I also do have the sensor temperature gauge. I just didn't install it. And then this is a 750 watt EverStart inverter with the, you gotta do it just right. I never can do it. There we go. Basically those flip up and run your cables, positive, negative. Okay, and that's the inverter. Now, I'm not going to need a whole lot. A lot of people will probably say you need a bigger inverter. No, I don't, because I'm not running a whole lot of, I'm not running a microwave, I'm not running a coffee pot, I'm not running a Keurig or any of those kind of things. I don't have those, I don't use those. So this is just more of a backup than anything else. And then the fuse panel is your standard good size fuse panel with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6, 12 or 12 connection plus, and then your bus bar. So the positive will go on this end, your negative on this end. So coming from the battery, plug into here. And I'll show you my diagram here in just a second. Okay, so this is the drawing for my electrical system. So we'll have coming in from the battery. So your negative wire will go up to the inverter and to the fuse panel. Okay, fuse panel is going to be 12 volt all coming out. And then I have a shunt and a power monitor that's going to go right here. That monitors how much going out or how much I have left on the battery. So then the kill switch will be here between the battery and the circuit breaker. So that's where the kill switch is going to go. And then from the circuit breaker, we'll go to the positive of the inverter, as you can see here. Okay. And then also the positive from the fuse panel will go to the circuit breaker on the other post. Ignore the kill switch. I was initially thinking I was going to put one between both the battery and the fuse panel, but then I realized that I'm still charging the inverter and the power going to the charge controller, so I wanted to kill it completely right here. So then from the inverter going to the 50 amp circuit breaker to the positive side of the charge controller, as you can see right there. So from the solar panel, negative straight in, positive straight in. Now I could put, or probably will put, another kill switch in between that and the charge controller, so I can turn off the solar panel and I can turn off the inverter and fuse panel with this kill switch. So I have 2 kill switches right there and there. And that is my basic wiring. And so if you have any comments or questions, please feel free to drop me a line, put it in the comment field. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you for your